are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, that's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and then end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, T-Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness to balance out the bad news that's so readily available. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words on this show. No Kanye talk, formerly or now. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So we have topics and guests. If you missed my fabulous interview at his home with Rich Little, iconic impressionist, one of the first, and comedian who is, links you back to Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Carol Channing and all the wonderful golden Hollywood folks. Please do free subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can get that show easily, and also an alert every weekday morning as we continue this 600, and I can't remember if it's 16 or 19. I have to go validate how many consecutive weeks I've been on now, but May 1st it will be 12 and a dozen years. So I'm so glad you're still here. I'm so glad the people who said that a positive show wouldn't last more than a year, I'm glad that they're wrong. And welcome. If you're driving, please do not chat. But if you're not driving, I have my co-captain of my cashew gallery already in. Troy Bocelli is here. Happy Friday to everyone is his wish, as well as mine. And it is Friday. We know that because you can hear the wonderful trash collector truck, which is my background music on Fridays. And I do appreciate and I'm grateful that we have our trash hauled away. That is my first gratitude. In fact, we like to start with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich as we wait for my co-host to get here, Elan Carter, who is not a morning person. So we are grateful that she gets up once a week early for this show, and she'll be here shortly, I'm sure. And in the meantime, I like to start every show with this discipline or good life habit called taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So what are you grateful for this morning? That's the top of the bun, 8 specific things that you're grateful for. And then the bottom of the bun, we do 8 things that you like about yourself. So here we go. What are you grateful for? And Frank, you're welcome. Frank's in my back end. Don't go there. He's behind me in the studio. He's my fabulous sound engineer. And I can't believe it. You're here already. I usually get through like the gratitude sandwich before you get here. But I'm glad that you're here.
I am here this morning. I've been up really all night. I've been up. So I've been having a hard time getting up lately because I'm up all night, You know what I'm going through with my mom. So yeah. I'm taking care of her every day. So I don't sleep well. So I've been hitting the alarm. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Okay, 5 more minutes because I'm so tired. Good morning, everybody. I have my coffee and I made my coffee. So I still was here on time to make the coffee.
You were. All right, here we go.
I like your cup. You have a new cup.
Yeah, this is from my younger daughter, Sarah. This is
so cute.
UC Davis. They are the cows. And I'm also the year of the ox in
Ah.
Chinese astrology. So, but yeah, we haven't started our gratitude sandwich, so you're perfectly timed. And I'm going to put up Troy as his first gratitude. Oh, he's got more than one. He's grateful for Elan Carter's here to start our weekend right. And he's grateful for friends and supporters in his life. They more than balance out the detractors and adversaries. That's beautiful. And just a little plug for Troy's show tonight on YouTube. His guest tonight is my co-host on Thursday, Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and James Hawthorne. And he's going to do his fitness specialty stuff there. So I'm grateful that our network it continues to expand. Let's see. Oh, we've got Frank saying he's grateful for his mom and dad. They have been helping me get through some tough stuff this week. Oh, I didn't know that. And I'm grateful for my sound engineer, Frank, who really is, he makes the show go smooth behind. I said in the back, on my back end, and realized that didn't sound good before. So
see, you always have that little things, those little slip ups. And then you
not
tell me, watch what I
perfect.
say. What you been doing on your back, Dr. Marissa? What you been doing on your back?
What am I doing on my back?
Yeah, besides sleeping. I'm
grateful that I continue to explore the world of dating. And, as a segue, just because this is also, Elan's and I special time. You guys just get to eavesdrop on our once a week date with each other. We used to be able to get together in person a lot more, but between her taking care of her mom and her son's musical career and my 8 jobs, it's where I'm grateful that I know I have a show with you to catch up on what's
I
going
will be grateful when we get to enjoy, we love to eat. That's what we really like to do. And then London knows how to play the game. Mahjong, how do you say it?
Mahjong.
So when next time we get together, maybe she will be around if she's not, she's such a social butterfly. You know what I'm grateful for? Yesterday, she had her first swim meet and she did so amazing. They want to put her on varsity and she had like an amazing time. Like she was like 33 point something or 34 point something. She's now to 29 point something. And she hasn't been swimming like everyone else.
Wow.
So, and that was freestyle. Like she's kicking, shiitake. I'm so proud of her. Unfortunately, I couldn't be at the first one because I was with my mother all day yesterday. My mother had chemo and radiation. She wasn't well and we didn't make it back in time, but I definitely will go to her next one. Trying to see, hopefully it's not scheduled on one of the long days we have. But I told her, I was like, oh my God, you did so amazing. And the fact that the coaches are like really proud of her because she hasn't been swimming with everyone. She just started. I always told her that she was a good swimmer. I was like, you really should go out for the team. And she's like, oh no, but she scuba dives and we spent so much time in Hawaii. I think it helped.
That's
so
awesome.
I think that's going to be good for college.
Absolutely. She'll probably get a scholarship.
I'm hoping
for that.
Because she sure quit the viola. I got her viola. Anyone want to buy a viola? It's almost brand new. It's one of the best ones you can get, I was told, because we got it from this really amazing place. And we need to get it's just sitting there. She refused to play it. She hasn't played it in years.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And viola for sale here.
Yes.
All right. And I am grateful that I continue to release some weight physically and emotionally. Good. And feeling really good about that. Yeah.
I am grateful that Kushiya opened in our neighborhood. It's a really good sushi restaurant. And it burnt down like 2 years ago. And it was across the street from Whole Foods. And everybody in the neighborhood just kind of went crazy because they also have the grill as well as the sushi. And so it's so popular. And they just opened back up and everyone's like so happy. And I went there. It was so good.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yay to you guys.
Another place for us to put on our list for sure.
Yes.
I am grateful that I saw a fabulous movie. If you haven't seen Color Purple, I was traveling, so I didn't get to on the timeliness of that, but I got to see it.
It's really good.
OMG.
I didn't want to see it. I saw it twice. I didn't want to see it, and I went with my friend, and then I went with my mom. I was like, oh my God, it was so good.
Wasn't it? Oprah,
Yeah.
my
The
honorable
music was
mention.
amazing. Like anything else is nothing like the first one at all.
Right.
That's why I was kind of like, The actors were amazing. Taraji's she's just an amazing actress. She can do anything. But the musical talent that everyone had,
yeah,
I just been blown away. I can't sing a lick. So, anyone that can sing and act, I'm always like, that's definitely a gift.
Yeah. Taraji got nominated as Woman of the Year on Time Magazine. She's one of the nominees.
Great. She deserves it. She doesn't get enough, recognition and accolades because she's been doing this a long time. And I don't know, she's not like the top media actress, but if you follow any of her stuff and you go back and look, she's can change her character. She's just amazing.
Yeah, she is.
And she's a pretty girl. She's cute.
I hope she gets nominated. And also, I hope the other actress gets nominated.
Yes.
Linda, what's her name? Do you know her? I don't know her.
The kind of heavy set girl?
Yes.
Oh my God, she's so good. And I couldn't figure out where I knew her from. She was so funny. And I kept saying, why does this girl look so familiar? She was in The Orange is the New Black. And I only saw one season of it. So I never really watched Orange is the New Black, but I couldn't figure out where I knew her.
So her name is Fantasia.
Fantasia. She just has the voice that's unbelievable. Her voice is just phenomenal.
I had no idea, but look at how glamorous, in that movie.
Well, she comes such a long way because you remember she was on American Idol.
I don't remember that.
Oh, she was on American Idol. That's how she got started. And, she didn't go mainstream, but she's always had this amazing voice. And it just seems and it was 10 years ago. And all of a sudden now she's getting the recognition and she's transformed into this really elegant, pretty woman, the way they style her and her makeup. She's really good. The way they transform her for the movie from how she looks right there is unbelievable.
Well, I'm getting the opposite effect because I didn't see this before I saw the movie, so it's
her voice she's got one of those, how Aretha Franklin had that kind of talent where she just stood there and it just came out. She's got that kind of talent, like that gospel kind of voice, which is not mainstream, but she turned out to be an amazing actress. That's what I was unbelievable that she's such a good actress.
Yeah, unbelievable. I was just so. Anyways, bottom line is go watch Color Purple.
Yeah, go watch it. It's good. I didn't think I would like it. I was like, I saw it when I was 16. I don't want to go see it. And then I went with my friends and I was like, oh my God. I tried to get the kids to see it. I said, if anything else, you should just see it for the musical part of it. It's so entertaining.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Lots of gratitude this morning. Thanks for giving us your gratitudes in the chat, Troy and Frank. And then now we're going to go to the bottom of the bun, which is, what do you like about yourself? What is good about you? And the reason why I have you do this weightlifting is I want you to be primed for before you go to bed. If you're thinking about what good is in your life and how you've done instead of beating up on yourself or, accusing people of doing wrong to you, it's much better to fall asleep on a positive note, and it will help you fall asleep faster. You don't have to take drugs. It's a discipline. So that's why we do it. I appreciate that I do practice what I teach 88% of the time.
I like the fact that I talk about myself every week, what I like about myself, and everybody watches and listens to us. And so those girls like a lot of themselves. So I have to think of something because I say this every week. So They're like, whoa, what's she like about herself this week? I like that I got through this week and without going off on anybody.
I appreciate that I surround myself with loving people like Elan and her mom, who are great role models on how to care in your family.
Oh, thank you. I like that I have a sister friend like yourself.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. I love to laugh and
dance.
I can and dance. Did you see I put that up on the promo?
I always see your videos of you dancing.
I actually put that part of you.
I saw that.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure you saw. So I appreciate that I am spontaneous.
I appreciate that I'm funny. I say funny things.
And looks aren't everything. Just
and
kidding.
I don't have a filter. I have no filter. That's the issue. My son, we had a meeting this week and he goes, you just told him that. Like, you have no filter, Mom. I'm like, I'm just now at the age where I just say what I feel. I mean, you know, you see older people and you're like, oh, they're rude, right? And you see like somebody's like in their 80s and then now I get it. They just don't care.
Right. Exactly. They cared their entire life and now it's like no holds barred.
Right.
So that's good. I appreciate my ability to find the funny in every situation. And I'm setting this up because I went on a date after the show last week, and I haven't had a chance to tell you. And it was a great date insofar as, you know, very interesting. He was on his third career. He was also a therapist, and you know, we had great conversation. He picked up the check on the way to the bathroom. That was awesome, right? And then he comes back and sits down and he says, and we met at like 6 something, and it's like 8 something, close to 9. And he says, had a great time with you tonight, but I'm going to have to leave now because I have to be in bed by 9:30.
Oh my gosh. That's
Otherwise, I'm a wreck the next day. And I said, and he looks at me and he goes, what time do you go to bed? I said, midnight. And he goes, oh, well, I get up at 6. He goes, what time do you get up? I go, 6.
I told you have to have the three, you know.
I know. Yeah.
Sponsors. Yeah. I can't get the word out. You got to have 3 sponsors because you're not going to find the perfect person in one person. You know, unless you're trying to settle down and get married, you might as well have a few sponsors because you got to find one that could stay up past 9 o'clock.
Oh my God. Can you believe it? I was like, I'm rarely speechless, but anyways, I appreciate my ability to find humor in every situation.
Yes. So you better schedule some 5:30 intimacy encounters. I'm going to try to keep it clean because dude is going to bed. And you better not ask for round 2.
Frank's in the back.
It don't sound like
Frank's in the back with his finger on the dump button.
That's not, I didn't say anything bad. I did not say nothing bad. I didn't use any bad words.
Oh my gosh. I just love you. I love our show on Fridays. It's the perfect way to slide into the weekend, if you know what I mean.
See, you want me. You want them to push the button on me.
We know what button we're talking about. Anyways, I am.
I would say it, but I want to say a product, but I better not.
Yeah, you better not. Thank you for joining us on this very fun breakfast. This is Dr. Marissa, and you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with me and the very special series every single Friday morning called Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and
Elan Carter.
And thanks for joining us for breakfast. And
maybe we could get a sponsor for sliding stuff. I can't leave it alone. You said it.
No, we're not talking about lube. Well, she is. He is. I'm not.
You
But
started it. You know what I mean. You know what I meant. Like my mom says, you know what I mean when she can't get the words out. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right? I mean, Troy.
I'm
like,
hot now. See, I'm getting all like I'm all sweaty and hot. I'm having a hot flash. You started it.
Oh my goodness.
Coffee or something. Whew, I need a fan. And my hair is going to be bushy. I have curly hair. My hair is not going to stay straight. It's going to be like, whew.
I'm not even going to go there. You're going to realize what you just said. But anyways, I'm so glad that y'all are here. We are, this is called Tempting Conversations because Elan's papa is Otis Williams, the founder of the Temptations, and also still singing and dancing and all of that stuff.
On the road right now.
On the road. Where is he?
I forgot. He told me.
Yeah. Okay. That's all right.
He's somewhere on the East Coast.
Yeah. I bet he's like concerned.
He's getting some achievement award. I mean, he's got so many lifetime achievement things. So he's getting another one and I can't keep up. He's going to have to get a new house to fit all the stuff. Because if you walk in, that's all you see everywhere. Right. So he's going to have to get a new house. Yeah. Just because he has no more space. He has so many things. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of his favorite things in my house is his wallpaper is an old 60s picture of the Temptations. And so it's the wallpaper in his house. It's so cool. Like you walk in and you see all 5 of them and they have these 60s outfits on. And I always tell him that's my favorite thing in his house, that wallpaper.
Is it in black and white? Or
yeah,
it's
in black and white. Oh. It's on and so when you walk down his hallway, it's really cool.
Yeah. Oh God, this is funny. Troy is saying, I love being here. I feel like a fly on the wall for Girl Talk. That's exactly what you are, Troy.
Yes, because we say things that you probably nobody else will talk about. So you feel like you're like a little kid sneaking into some woman, your mom's conversation. Let me tell you what Trace did, speaking of fly on the wall. This is like a couple years ago. Okay. Me and my friend are on the phone, right? And he, you know how they, the headset, the little wires. So he sneaks under the covers and I have one of them in my ear and the other one is in his ear. And so we were having a very, very conversation about women, like intimacy things. And we were talking about products. And she was telling me about it.
Products or products?
Products.
Oh.
And she was telling me about some product and he was traumatized. And I said, that's what you get for listening to our conversation. You shouldn't have been listening to Mom's conversation. He goes, I can't believe you ladies, he calls us old ladies say stuff like that. I said, see, you might hear stuff you don't want to hear. Don't listen to my conversation.
Yeah,
because it's my cousin friend, right? He, then he had a whole different attitude towards her because he was like, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe she told you that. So that's the fly on the wall. Kids listening to parents' things and,
That's so funny. Well, first, I have to tell you, if you don't know this already, my sound engineer, Frank, he works the most on Friday because he's got to be poised and ready to hit the dump button. That was for you, Frank. I know you're laughing at that. But it is really funny. When I grew up, and this is what I'm tempted to talk about today, how did you grow up learning about sex, learning about intimacy, learning about romance? And I have to say that I went from one extreme because I was not told anything at all, nothing. So that even when I got my menses, okay, I didn't know what it was. I thought I was going to die, because I saw, and so as a result of that, I went to the other extreme with my 2 daughters and, started talking about everything probably way too early. So that by the time they were teenagers, I'll never forget at dinner one night, they go, Mom, can we get through one dinner without you saying vagina?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So I went through the other extreme, and probably now I'm sure they're going to have a balance, right, when they raise their kids. But
well, my mom told me everything at a really young age, like 5, 6, 7. And I did with my kids too, because I was like, no one's supposed to touch you. If they do this, these are your private parts. It's a sexual thing. And I grew up in entertainment. So I was exposed to things at such a young age, right? And my mother told me everything. So by the time I was a teenager, I knew all of it because I saw 4 other members in the group. And even though at that time I was the only child, and I'm my mom's only child too, I would watch things and I wouldn't say anything. So I was always in the room with adults, right? So I always knew what was going on. Then my mom was a Playboy bunny at a young age. So she kind of taught me everything. And then my friends that were having sex before me, I would tell my mom everything. So I wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to talk to her. And I try to tell my kids, Trace tells me everything. Sometimes he tells me too much. Like we talk like we're, it's not a weird thing because I want him to be comfortable. So he does tell me everything and we talk about sex, and he really hasn't gotten a serious relationship. My daughter's at a weird age. She's 15. And I talk to her about it, but she gets more embarrassed. So I have to kind of pull back. But I also tell her a lot of stuff. I know she doesn't want to hear it. She's like, Mom, shut up, But I have been having this talk because she has a crush on this guy at school on her swim team. And I try to say to her, listen, I know your hormones are out of control. I know that's what starts happening. And she has expressed that her friends are having sex because she tells Trace, she won't tell me. He comes back and I try to approach it and I said, listen, this is all the boys want. They will tell you anything, no matter how much you like them, and then your heart will be broken. So I'm having that conversation, but her father actually is telling her the same thing. Boys will tell you whatever. We're not saying you won't do it. You don't want to do it, but hold off as long as you can, because focus on your school and not saying that, oh, it's bad. We're just telling you that 9 times out of 10 at this age, it won't be something that you will carry on in a relationship. Rarely that you meet someone in high school and you end up staying with them. And then they'll go tell everybody at school, and you don't want people at school to know. So like Keith always teases me because when I was in high school, the guy that went to my prom was 24 because I always dated older guys. He's like, what's wrong with you? Because I was dated older guys because I never wanted someone to come back at school and say that they hooked up with me, right? I wanted to make sure that I dated guys who were much older than me for that very reason. But I'm having that conversation with her right now. Yeah, so and she's just at that age. This is the age, even though parents don't want to accept it, they don't want to tell their kids because they feel like you better not have sex at 15, 16 years old, 17 years old. I got news for you. This is the age where the hormones are out of control when they're at their peak, right? And they're curious and they're not mature enough and their brains are not developed enough to be responsible sexually. And so what I try to tell my kids, even though we came up where HIV first hit the scene. So we didn't have the free will of sex like our parents did, right? The 60s, love everything. It's like, so we even came up where all those diseases kept popping up and you can't just take a pill and get rid of it. And then they got new stuff. So I try to tell them that too. Like you have to be responsible. So yes, I have the talk with them, but my daughter she doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, but I do think it's important not just to talk about the warning side of it. I think that if you you want to be able to share the good and the bad. And I think that if you do that, it's not a, you can't do that or you shouldn't do that, and disease and pregnancy and all that. But if you sit down and you say, hey, this is one of the most important things that life has to offer, the ability to be intimate with some other person. And it's a feeling that you don't get with anyone else. You can't get it from your friends or your parents or your kids.
I don't want to tell her that yet.
Yeah.
I don't want her to tell her it's good.
No.
I want her to wait to hear
But if you don't, then they go, I always say, if you don't get in there with a message, then you're leaving that message up to 2 P's, peers and porn. So do you want that to be the leading?
Well, the kids already have that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Because it's free. When we were kids, we had to take our parents' VHS or Betamax. I remember my parents having all these tapes. Now Trace is like, all on his phone. And the only reason why I know, because I got a thing on my card one day, and it was like one of the high-end porn sites, right? It was like, go to this one. And he goes, oh, I don't do that. I go, you don't think your dad and I know about porn? Like, I know for sure what this is, right? I go, you are watching that. No, I'm not. Go, okay, how come I'm being charged? We had to bust him out on it, right?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
It's totally different. I'm not saying that I'm not going to have that conversation, but they don't need to know it feels good and all that right now. That part I need to leave out. They will figure that out when they do it. I said that I can tell them that sex is okay when you like someone and you have feelings for them, but be careful because women can get caught up emotionally, sexually. If the sex is good, we tend to get emotionally attached, right? Mm-hmm. That's when we get emotionally attached. If you have a good partner, I don't need to tell her that yet. I just need to tell her, I'll wait. I'll just tell her to be responsible when she does do it. And the first time she does it, I was like, it's not that great the first time. That's what I did tell her. And that's the truth. I'm not lying.
And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering what the heck we're talking about this morning, this is Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and our very fun, special, and always tempting conversations on Fridays with Dr. Marissa and
Elan Carter.
And welcome to the show. We have Maria and JP and Troy in the Cashew Gallery right now, and others who have not identified. I see the eyeballs rolling in. Please feel free to either be a fly on the wall like Troy is, listening to the girl talk going on, or we can entice or tempt Maria to join in on this very fun and
exactly
conversation
the conversation
about sex with your kids, right? And how important it is to educate in a balanced way is the argument we're having right now. Very fun.
Well, it shouldn't be tempting to tell them that it's good. That's my conversation is, tempting them. That's more temptation by telling them how great it is. And it's not if you don't have a good person. So I want her to know that you need to find a good person first to give yourself to. Now, I have a different conversation with Trace because he's a dude. I talk to him like a dude. I'm like, not every girl is the person that you're going to hook up with because you want to have some girls you want to just hit it and because they look good. I said, but don't disrespect anybody. If someone likes you enough to get with them, don't be mean. And some girls you'll have an intimate, you want to make love to. So I had that conversation with him so he understands. And some girls, it's like, okay, I just had a good time because men are more visual sexually, right? Not every girl you're going to date and take it or no boo. And me and him have those kind of conversations.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you advertise how great sex is to your daughter, but I think it's very important to balance out the negative. Don't do it until.
I don't say that. I don't ever say that. And she has such a different personality. I don't say that at all. Right. Yeah. And we're the same sign. We're both Cancer. So she's really sensitive. So I have to approach it a certain way because I feel like if she got involved with someone and they didn't treat her right, she would have a really hard time because she's a sensitive girl. So if I can just keep her focused on what she's doing in school and her sports, that will help. That is going to totally distract her if she gets involved with someone. And the boys are asking her out now. So she's kind of like, and I think because she has a crush on one particular person, which he's kind of shy to ask her out. And he's a bit older. I think he's like going into 12th grade. So, and she's only in 10th. And this is the age where it's weird when they're in 10th, 12th, and one's in 10th. She's considered young until, they get older. And then they're
right. Now, Troy is saying is siding with you. You don't have to tell kids that it feels good. Humans know that instinctively. It's inevitable. However, Troy, because of the strength of the religious message that sex and orgasms or anything like that is bad, that I grew up with, that it was wrong, that it's a sin, that you shouldn't do it before you're married, and all this other stuff, that comes with the messages that you're getting, it does make it really lopsided. So then you begin to think there's something wrong with you if you have those feelings, or wrong with having intimate relationships before you're married. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that if you don't talk about the natural beauty of intimacy that involves sex, but it is important to be with someone who respects you when you do it, and it is important to be protected because you can get disease or get pregnant. That, I'm just saying, that's my BS, my belief system, that the best way to talk about sex with kids, your kids, not other kids, but your kids, is to give them that well-balanced, beautiful context that is not given when you don't say anything, because then it's all outside influences, usually their peers who don't know what's going on anyways, or porn, which is, I remember the first time in school when they said, put in a search thing for your, way back in the day. And of course, the guys in the class put in sex and everything came up. That was a long time ago. But my only point is that beautiful part that I, even now as an adult, have hangups about is a direct result of not being given that balanced look.
Well, and I think also too, when you have the Bible Belt people, they try to categorize what you should and should not do, which has really hurt our culture, period. Because the race comes into it. And if you look at the disciples back in the day, they weren't blonde, blue-eyed people. You're in the Middle East. Obviously, they were ethnic, especially if they had to go through Egypt. You had to have dark skin. So, if people understand, most people that are really religious are pretty ignorant because they don't really know what they're being taught, right? So you can't let the Bible get into it. And I don't push that on my kids at all. Like, there's not the religious part of it, because I just think that that's just crazy. If you want to be religious, and Trace, for the record, Trace is the most religious person in this family, right? So if you want, yeah, he is. But if you want to put religion into it and live your life by religion, then you're going to limit yourself of growing as a person. I'm not saying, because I believe in God and I pray, but I don't think that religion should depict what kind of person you are. And I think the younger generation are starting, and people our age are teaching their kids that that's not what you use. I think we're starting to get that now, because we're having a new generation of spiritual people. We're becoming more spiritual and starting to understand the universe, and that the Bible is just to control the masses. So, unfortunately, you had that experience where your parents put religion in it. But let me tell you, my friends who are super religious, my best friend's her sister's married to a minister in the church, a big church. And the shenanigans they have in the church, those are the biggest ones. Like, you hide behind that, but the stuff that goes on in the church is just crazy. That's just a place to go where people just can congregate, and there's a whole different community within itself of the stuff that they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with the Black minister, T.D. Jakes. He's really big. Look him up. T.D. Jakes is he's like, what's the guy in Texas? And I like him. I don't know why. I just went through the curly hair, the good looking one in Texas. He's more of a motivational speaker, T.D. Jakes. But he is in the biggest scandal right now. And so many people admire T.D. Jakes. He has such a good message. Has nothing to do with what he talks about. It's the fact that now he's caught up in this whole sexual thing going on with P. Diddy and the entertainers, because he started hanging out with the entertainers because he's become so big as a minister and preacher. And, I really just aggravated when I see people mix religion with sex, right? Well, if you are married, that's just and people that are married have affairs or do whatever, swingers, that's just you justifying, oh yeah, I can have sex. You have sex when you're married anyway. So why you tell your kids that it's not good? I just think that's the part of the parent who's I think it's an irresponsible part. So I do agree with you about talking to your kids. Do I tell my kids how pleasurable sex is? No. They will find that out about themselves, because they have to find out what they like sexually anyway. They they're not gonna like the same thing I like, right? They're gonna find their individual and their partner that pleases them. And so they don't need to know anything about that part until they explore on their own. And then they can come back and say to me, Mom, you know what? That was really good. And then I'll be like, yeah, you're right. Then I'll be okay with talking about it, but I'm not going to tell them ahead of time. That's just me.
Right.
I'm just saying that when you find someone, and what I have said, and I told my son this, when you have feelings for someone, sex is so much better. It's so intense. It's a different feeling, and you'll know the difference when you get that partner. That is what I've said. You'll know the difference where you just hook up. I said, you're in music. You're going to get groupies. It's not the same. And he goes, oh, I'm not going to be a simp, because that's what the kids call it now. Simp means like, I'm not going to be a buster or lusting over someone or giving her everything. The kids call it simp. I'm not going to be a simp. I go, you're going to get that one person, and it could be 400 people. And that one person will just have you so gone, and you will be a simp, right? You're going to get, so you will know the difference. I can't explain it to you, because when it happens, you're going to know.
Simp as an S-I-M-P?
I think so. I don't know. I guess so. I just know the kids say it. I'm not a simp.
Yeah, I'll have to ask my daughter. But Troy's saying, I don't know. I think the wrongness is what we find the most fun, like that temptation side, different kind of temptation, but that the dark side. And I don't know, maybe it's a gender difference, but I definitely, I have seen the negative impact of the wrongness of sex really hurt as many women's ability to be gratified, to have satisfying sex, to feel like have that be a good, a healthy, important part of a relationship. So,
but do you think it's because a lot of women are insecure about their bodies and themselves, so they don't?
Which comes, yes,
I think that has a lot to do with how they express their sexual things. And I think that when you get these religious people who say sex is bad, well, they don't have good experiences maybe, or they don't feel secure about themselves, or they don't feel like the opposite sex would be attracted to them. So they make excuses. A lot of people they deflect, right? And they justify what they're not getting. And because they're not getting that, they're going to turn around and put that on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best example I can use culturally is the more repressed you are about sex, the more repressed you are about pleasure, the more repressed you are about the natural act of intimacy and pleasure and the big O, then the more it's going to come out sideways. And they did a study, and I actually focused on this in one of my papers in grad school, was looking at Japan as a culture. Now, this is back in the day, decades ago, but because, sex and pleasure was not talked about, not dealt with, they had the weirdest kind of aberrant porn.
Yes.
You can ever even imagine.
I mean, they have these little places you can go, I hear, and called these bars. And only reason why I know, I dated this guy he was part Japanese, and he did a lot of business over there. He's like, I went to this place, and he's like, they have these weird things that are sexual that you can go out and it's okay. They try to suppress it because they're very reserved culturally, but then they do this weird stuff that we don't do, right? And when I did Playboy, my Japanese issue had me covered up in my centerfold. So they had to do it, and it was still sheer stuff, and I'm still nude in the thing, but I have a G-string on, and I have this robe that's kind of sheer, and it's just covering the top, so you don't even see my breast, just barely. And so they have these hang-ups about it, but then they have mistresses, and it's acceptable, and the wives buy the mistresses gifts. Well, in Black culture, that would not happen. You may have your mistress, but let us find out. We're going to roll up on you and the mistress, and we're going to beat you in front of the mistress we won't get her depending on who she is and what was her participation. Long as if it's someone I know, you getting it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the geisha thing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I'm saying. People don't understand, but then they suppress their sexual desires, and you know. But I think culturally, Asian culture suppresses their feelings and emotions anyway, right? That's part of the culture, which we are so opposite. Black people are so emotional. We just lose our temper. That's why when people go at us, they know that we're going to lose our temper because we are emotional people. And so we have to learn how to suppress and not lose our temper, because that's just who we are. We're just emotional, but we are very forgiving. We get over it and we're like, okay, fine. You know, we like everybody and we can make fun of stuff, but yeah, we're like the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to displaying our feelings. We overexpress our feelings and sometimes are more sensitive than the average person, sometimes too sensitive. I will be the first one to say that. Sometimes we read things that are not there, we assume, and that's part of the issues we have to deal on a daily basis. So sometimes we take it as, oh, okay, that person meant that, when they not always do. Which Asian culture, Keith used to do a lot of business in China. And so when he first went there, you know, from the New York office, the bosses, one of the reasons why he had a problem with the New York people is because they only requested Keith to come. Mind you, now he's the only Black minority guy that worked for the bank. And they were like really shocked that they would bring him. So he said he had this one conference, and so he's in China, and this guy was so amazing, and everyone knew who he was. He goes, I got him, spoke and did my presentation, and there was stone face. No one said anything. So he goes, I didn't think they liked me. I didn't know what to say. Anyway, they liked him so much. He was over there like every 2 months. So they always brought him back. And he was saying, you can't read Asian culture, but you also got to be careful because they will slip up on you when you least expect it.
Yeah. Well,
not in a bad way, but it was very positive. He was just saying because we're so, as Americans, we just express, and you can read our body language. We're not poker face.
No filters. Exactly. Yeah. And on that vein, it's Hofstede that does the cultural studies. And the thing about working in Japan, when I was teaching some value and diversity, that if you're expressing something and if you're saying something or you're giving instruction to a Japanese audience and you say, do you understand what I'm saying? Even if they don't understand, they will say yes, because they don't want to insult the speaker. Right. So that's the extreme, to that extreme. So there was always issues because they really didn't understand. So when execution came, they wouldn't say it. So that's a cultural difference that,
But the service, I will say, when I was modeling and, a lot of Japanese clients, I used to do catalog. Back in the day, I used to do a lot of catalog. Now you have the internet. Mm-hmm. And best treatment ever. He even says that as far as services and how they treat their clients, and it could be someone on the spectrum of being super, super successful, and could be millionaire people down to the person that they're just giving work to. Hands down, I think out of every culture, they are really good at making sure they honor and they respect. We need to learn from that. Yes. Because if you're doing business, you just honor and respect the person, period. It's just give them that respect. It makes that person feel good.
Yeah, for sure. I think that if we took the best out of every culture, we'd have world peace, for sure.
Yes, if we learn, we don't want to learn. We're so caught up in our own ego that we don't want to learn about other people. So we think, oh, I'm not going to learn about them because they're not as good as me, because we're so ignorant to other cultures. And I tell people, you can go to college. The best learning is traveling. And because I've lived overseas and I've traveled everywhere and I've dated all kinds of cultures, it's the best of everything. It makes you such a well-rounded person. Mm-hmm. And it makes you a humanitarian, because I think more people would be humanitarians if they learn about other people, and they just don't. They think that we're the best. First of all, we are not the culture that existed in ancient times. America is a newer country, right? There were people beforehand, but we've only taught the history that they wanted to teach because they came and took the land and took over. The ancient cultures are like the China, India, Africa. Those are the ancient cultures that we don't take the time to learn. And if we did, we would learn about mankind, period, how we came, how we developed as people, how we developed as races. And we weren't the first ones here. It's just the stuff that we're being taught is so bizarre. If they would teach, and I know they're trying to stop it, especially in Florida, if we are taught proper history about the world, we would be a better world. And they don't want that because they want to keep this narrative. Well, this country's going to shiitake. So you need to go back and figure out why we're just going down that road of negativity and go back to see, well, what can we do to improve ourselves?
Yeah. That whole,
this is not working. Whatever we're doing, we're becoming more divided. We're going at each other. There are people who don't have, when I go out and I see people on the street, especially California, Los Angeles is beautiful, but we have such a bad, I'm on a whole nother subject, but the homeless thing,
and we have 3 minutes.
The homeless thing is not good here. And it just breaks my heart because if we can just help those people, it's cold and raining. And I know it's not snow, but it's cold outside right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The arrogance of Americans is something that just is a little scary now because of the MAGA and all of that.
We are narcissists. And I say racism is nothing but narcissism. That's all it is. And when we recognize those are the issues, let's just care about the people, because that's somebody's mom, dad, child, sibling.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. 1,000-degree agree with you. And as usual, we're running out of time. But I'm really glad. We were tempted to talk about a lot of things this morning. And hopefully you enjoyed the debate and the agreement, and also the overall theme. My final word is, let's put kind back into humankind. I think that is what we need today, more than anything else. As we go to vote, remember, that
we need world peace.
Yeah.
If the aliens come down and get us, I bet you guys will unite then. Everybody's just scrambling.
Maybe that's what we need.
If the aliens come, I bet you everybody will start loving each other. They're like, help, help.
Yeah, for sure. So appreciate all of the love and attention in the chat, as well as the supporters that continue to tune in here. This is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, in our very special Friday series called Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and
Elan Carter.
And we do wish you the very best this weekend. Prayers and peace and healing to Mama, Elan's mom, as well as my father's brother, my Uncle Patrick on the East Coast. It's been confirmed he does have cancer, and there's nothing we can do to treat him. So he is, I just know that where he's going, we all go into that pure love, and he's going to be there with his wife, who passed 6 years ago. So, but I just wanted to mention that all the love that goes out to anyone right now who is going through some terminal illness, we know where you're going, and we'll meet you there when it's our time to. That's my final word. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Elan, I love you. And I'm so glad we get to spend this time together. Now go and have the best weekend ever. We'll see you on Monday. Oh,